Okay, good morning, everybody. It is Larsen live. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It is July 5th. I hope everybody had a happy July 4th. And here we are today. We opened up the stream with, I believe the band is titled Paris Violence or something like that. I believe that's. Oh, wait a minute. Jeez, Did I have the mic off? God, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I accidentally muted the mic instead of the feed. Anyway, yeah, what I was saying was, yeah, this is, Christ, I'm not doing good today. Sorry for taking the Lord's name in vain. But yeah, von Ungern Sternberg, the eponymous, title of the stream, he has a, great-great-grandniece. He is, yeah, the grandniece is on TikTok, not Twitter. I apologize for that. I know we're all very concerned about our, social media feeds. Yeah, I'm going to have to edit this one down a bit. Because, boy, it hasn't been a good couple of weeks for streaming. Also, where the hell's my meme reel? Jesus, what is going on? Ugh, this is not great. Anyway, Leonie von Ungern Sternberg is, she's a TikTok fitness influencer, just a girl who likes matcha. And all these bizarre chuds are streaming at her retake the throne of Mongolia. Okay, so apparently we have this new thing where we have the top fans. It's Pony Throat and then became Alpha Marigi. Oh, you're all number one in my eyes. I don't know how official all these rankings are, but, you know, here we are. Yes, so, Leonie von Ungern Sternberg strictly disavows the actions of her gibbering lunatic uncle. It's quite the story if you want to read about it. This is what happens when, you know, sensitive young men from aristocratic families read a little bit too much about the history of the Mongols and decide that they are the reincarnation of Genghis Khan. Let's see, Sturm says, you can be a notable centuries-old Baltic German noble family with significant contributions to art, politics, and history. Then you have that one crazy uncle who goes, we was Mongolians and shit, and that's the only thing anybody knows your whole family for. Yeah, that is a shame. I figure we should get the title story out of the way now. Pornthroat says we both have 75 XP. I guess I put Marigi first because his name starts with A. Yeah, I don't know how this works. Like, it literally just kind of came up one day. You guys are on your own figuring this out. Anyway, I thought it was good to start off the stream with the Ungern Sternberg story because, you know, politics being what they are, they're not good. So as we all know in American politics, Trump signed the big, beautiful bill. There was a lot of debate about removing migrants from Medicaid, so then Trump says nobody's getting Medicaid. You know, I myself have been on Medicaid before. I no longer am. I mean, it is a fact that illegal immigrants were on Medicaid. It's a shame that, you know, a lot of people are getting their nuts cut off, metaphorically speaking, but, you know, what are we going to do? Okay. Alpha Maria says it's a mixed bag, presumably talking about the Trump thing, or presumably talking about the YouTube thing. Porthroat says YouTube is trying to be Twitch again. I don't know, Susan's dead. I don't know who's running YouTube nowadays. I'm going to assume it's some Brahmin Indian, because of course it is. But yeah, a lot of people are upset about the big, beautiful bill. You know, of course, I've always found Trump to be a gauche, you know, vulgarian, as they say. You know, as I've said before, Trump kind of varies between doing things that are sensible and then doing things that are stupid, or, you know, having stupid solutions to sensible problems. This is definitely one of those things. I genuinely think that Trump might be Something of an idiot savant. Okay. Alpha Rodriguez says California could easily pass its own state single payer if single payer is so good. I mean, I think if nothing else, Trump's regime has led to a rebirth of federalism where states are openly defying him. Which, honestly, I think is close somewhat to the original spirit of the Constitution. Also, in terms of politics, New York seems to be on the road to electing a new mayor, a Zohran Mamdani. I have some issues with him personally. Like, for starters, this scion of wealth and privilege, speaking of Brahmin Indians, marked his Harvard application as African American. This is the second semi-famous, well-to-do South Asian to pretend to be African American. The first being Mindy Kaling's brother, who pretended to be black to get into medical school. Can't say I approve of that. However, Mamdani also says he wants to empty jail cells and release criminals because violence is an artificial construct. Are you sure about that, sir? I mean, I can punch you in the face and you can tell me whether or not it's artificial or not. I mean, there's certainly problems with the judicial system and the criminal justice system, the prison system, but this idea of, like, if we just open up the jail cells and just, hope for the best, that doesn't seem like a good idea. I will never understand this concept. Okay. Alpha Maria says does not realize animals exist. I genuinely feel like a lot of these ivory tower types, and the man is very much an ivory tower type. His father is a Columbia professor. His mother is a Hollywood film producer. They are very much insulated from their poor decisions. And that's really the big problem with this country, is that people do not suffer the consequences of their actions. Pointhor says, come on, let's not cast him, cast with an E, in a bad light. I caught myself from saying cased. I think, like, my middle school social studies teacher pronounced it that way, and that's sort of how I subconsciously pronounce it, even though I am told that it should be cast. Yeah, I don't... Seriously, why is my meme reel not playing? I'll have to fix this another time. I apologize for that. I know we like our memes. We have to get this working. I mean, I did transfer all my image files onto an external hard drive. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I mean, I was hoping that they would be saved on Streamlabs, but I guess not. The machinations of technology are a fickle one, aren't they? Speaking of political idiocy, let's see what the Libertarians have to say about all this chaos going on. So says Alex Noraste. Good policies matter most. He supports illegal immigration and amnesty because, and I quote, a diverse population reduces social solidarity, which is good for economic growth. People don't want wealth-destroying policies to help out people who look different. Having a lack of social solidarity and just cutthroat individualism is good for economic growth. Let's open up the border so that everybody who comes in, everybody hates each other so they can't get their hands on the money. Well, that's libertarianism in a nutshell, ain't it? Yeah, line go up. That's all that matters, that line go up. Doesn't matter if people have, nice communities, people feel social solidarity. The line isn't going up as much. Line go up is everything. So therefore, line must go up. Gee, I wonder why libertarianism has never really caught on. It's a mystery. It sure is. It's a shame, because I do agree with, 70% of libertarianism, but it's just... if you dig deep enough, every libertarian is basically like, we should not have society. We should, have slavery. Communities are bad, and also I should be allowed to have sex with little girls. Just tell me prove me wrong if you think I'm wrong. My wife comes in saying she doesn't care who I think is first. And Ponythroat clarifies that yes, transferring the image files to an external drive is why there's no meme reel. I was not aware of this. Yeah, so I guess next week I'll fix that. I don't really care about doing this right now because who cares about the memes? You obviously want to see my beautiful cartoon face and listen to my beautiful, beautiful political and social commentary. Am I right? Yep, it's just going to be like the Duff beer factory from The Simpsons. People drink Duff for its robust taste, not its alcohol. So we're having Duff Dry. 30 minutes later, the plant closes down. Okay. Yes, libertarians continue to be very bad people. I'm not joking. I've spoken to libertarians. There was a time where I was a libertarian. And, it's not all of them. Like, some libertarians are just guys who it's like, why can I build a tool shed on my own property? Some people get into libertarianism because they want to fight against, HOA, like schoolmarm tyranny, which I agree with. But then some of them are the, guys who are like, we should have slavery and I should be allowed to have sex with children. And can't say I'm into that. Alpha says Duff was based on Budweiser, right? I mean, to an extent, yeah. Like the advertising that they show for Duff beer is very much based on like Budweiser. But I don't know if it specifically was. Let me just, yeah, like the Bud had Bud Man, Duff has Duff Man. Okay, let me just check the Simpsons wiki. Let's see. Okay, okay, like many other countries, discerning beer drinkers characterize popular domestic brews in a pejorative way. Like Americans mock Budweiser, Australians discount Victoria Bitter and Foster's. So it's supposed to be sort of a generic, like, 1 second. Can I help you, my love? What? Yes, so it is supposed to be sort of a just generic, like, mass market Dreck beer. Yeah, then the wiki goes on to, talk about how specifically it's based on Budweiser. 1 second, please. Alright, I apologize for that delay. Let's see, Ponythroat clarifies that even if it was plugged in, the file location would change. Yeah, that, okay, Alpha Marigi says the only libertarianism that solves the prisoner's dilemma is the specific kind of ANCAPs who want privatized cities where commies and derelicts aren't allowed in. Yes. Ponythroat says also a tech pro tip, external hard drives are low-key crap. 1 second. The pup is crying. Give me a second. Okay, yes, I have returned. I have a Cavapoo Alpha Marigi. She's very nice, but she does get upset sometimes. Yeah, she's, I think she's gonna calm down now. Yeah, but yes, anyway, the point is, yes, Duff is based on, generic domestic crap beer in general, and Budweiser in particular. Yes, Budman is like Duffman. The logos look vaguely similar. Duff has, amusement parks and corporate sponsors of stadiums, much like Anheuser-Busch, etc., etc. Okay, and occasionally they actually do sell Duff beer in real life. Okay. Yes, it is a small dog. Okay. I mean, some positive things came from, the realm of politics. Speaking of, libertarian assholes, Senator Mike Lee says he's no longer advocating selling off the national parks. I do agree with that. So I guess the ghost of Teddy Roosevelt did rise from the grave and punch the guy in the balls repeatedly. Which is good. That is good. Okay, let's see what else we have going on. Okay. Alright, well, we got some science news, so to speak. The deadly fungus, a deadly fungus, has been found that was thought to be the cause of the curse of Tutankhamun, and has been turned into a compound that kills leukemia cells in lab tests. So I guess the curse of the pharaoh might end up doing something good after all. Thank you, UPenn. It shows promise in treating cancer. The pharaoh was just trying to give us a cure for cancer, and, we said it was a curse. The fungus, Aspergillus flavus, produces mycotoxins, much like the death cap mushroom. Yeah, it might have caused the curse of the pharaoh that killed Howard Carter, but, here we are. It might cure cancer. So, our mummy friends might help us out after all. Now, fungus might cause like a Last of Us sort of thing. Wait, that's what happens in The Last of Us, right? I've never played the game, and I don't particularly care to. But yes, our fungus friends are helping us out. Okay. Alfred says, thanks, Teddy. And he says, Diddy. What about Diddy? Yes, the Diddy trial. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Ponyfoot says, isn't Kid Rock the real-life Duff Man and human equivalent of an above-ground pool? No, sir. Kid Rock is not the real-life Duff Man. Duff Man is handsome and muscular. Kid Rock is neither of those things. Let me rephrase that. Duff Man is handsome, muscular, and charismatic. Kid Rock is none of those things. I mean, Kid Rock is the real-life equivalent of Cletus, the slack-jawed yokel from The Simpsons, but that's a whole different issue. Hey, what's the matter? I think Caramel wants to get down. Not get down on the dance floor, but get down from my lap. There we go. I think she'll be fine. Okay, we will talk about the Diddy trial, but we have a little bit more. Celebrity news to talk about. Jeff Bezos got married to his 50% plastic girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez. They had the wedding on the $500 million super yacht with a lavish foam party. I'm sorry, the foam party was her son Evan's 19th birthday, and that was days before the wedding. I I don't know where to begin with this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't a foam party some kind of like gay circuit thing where they fill the place up with foam and everybody just sort of surreptitiously jacks each other off? Why would you want to have one of those with your stepdad? Yeah, man, my 19th birthday party, I had a gay sex party with my bald, horrifying stepdad. I didn't intend for it, but this really isn't a tie into the Diddy story. You know, people always make fun of, like, rich women mostly getting their money from divorces, but I think Lauren Bezos, or whatever her name is, I think she kind of deserves it at this point. She deserves that money. Does Jeff Bezos have kids from his first marriage? I don't know, and I really don't care. I don't really know anything about Jeff Bezos other than my desire to furiously punch the man in the face repeatedly. Dude, my mom's big fake titties are out. It's stupid. Shinseki Evans says, Lex Luthor married the Joker. Yes, he did. Yeah, she's not a good-looking woman. I mean, I'm sure she looked pretty good back when she, was made of plastic, but, here we are. Okay. Moving on from that. Yeah, let's talk about the Diddy trial. Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Funky Kong, Diddy Kong Racing. He has been found guilty of some things and acquitted of other things. He was acquitted of the racketeering and sex trafficking, but he was found guilty of transporting prostitutes and some other sex crime. I don't know exactly how sex trafficking differs from driving a prostitute someplace. But, what do I know? I'm not a prosecutor. It's been so long since I've read Iceberg Slim's books, so my knowledge of the pimp game is a bit rusty. But, as far as I'm aware, are those the same thing? If you're driving a prostitute someplace, that is, you are trafficking a sex worker. You are driving a sex worker into traffic. Dare I say, you are sex trafficking. Pony Throat says, Diddy got away with some of it, but during the trial he went gray, and no one likes expiring Apophis like from that one episode of Stargate. I have never seen any episodes of Stargate. I saw like 20 minutes of the original Kurt Russell movie. Give me 1 second. The dog is gadding about somewhere. I just gotta go find her and make sure she's not doing something stupid. Yeah, all is well. The dog was just hot, so she's laying on the bathroom because there's tiles there. Hey. Yeah, Diddy supporters were outside the courthouse showering themselves in baby oil and proving that that episode of the Boondocks about R. Kelly was more prophetic than we think. Pony Throat says, isn't driving a prostitute someplace kind of the norm in that industry? Well, some prostitutes take house calls, so they don't have to drive. I suppose in theory you could, take a bike or something. Or, take the bus. Yes, obviously I've never trafficked and exploited sex workers. I've never been in the pimp game, so I'm just theorizing here. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, I guess now we're on the silly side of things. since it is July 4th, I guess it is sort of fitting that I'm going to talk about some horrifying food stuff. Eggo Waffles now makes liqueur. Waffles and syrup cream liqueur. Eggo brunch in a jar. We have canned waffle alcohol now. Digestives. Jesus. Oh my God. Cheese and rice. What is this? Like waffle and syrup cream liqueur. I'm going to put this up on the screen because we got to have something to, you know, take away from my cartoon face. Let's put that up. H file. Da-da-da. Wait, did I? No, I saved the thing. Why is this happening? Okay. Sorry, I saved it into the wrong thing. My apologies. Give me 1 second. Yeah, here. Brunch in a jar. It's not even a good brunch. It's just a cheap liqueur shot. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm not the right kind of American to be into this, but this is just an abomination. Like, look, I am very much a Yankee in the traditional, you know, cultural sense. You know, I'm from New Jersey. I have family in Massachusetts. You know, college educated, etc. But yeah, this is, I don't know, maybe I'm just too much of a descendant of like dour Puritan scions, spiritually if not genetically. But yeah, this I want to spike every jar of, you know, waffle syrup liqueur onto a concrete street pretty quick. Alfreda says you could just walk to the massage parlor, but then you have to learn how to do at least a legally passable massage. 1 second. You know, I thought she wouldn't cry for a second. I mean, I am very much the spare human in this household, but I think she was in fact missing me. So here she is. She's laying on the couch, and I think she'll be content from now on. Yes, Alpha Marigi, you know, obviously there's been no new comments. I don't approve of this brunch in a jar. It's not even a good brunch. I expect some pesto and eggs with my brunch. I mean, I don't understand why you have to just combine and compress all your crap into a single thing. Like, if you want to have, like, a brunch with, you know, champagne and mimosas and stuff, like, that's fine. But have some dignity. Like, be a upper-class aristocratic decadent. Don't just shove everything into a can and slurp it down. It's like that Patton Oswalt bit about the KFC famous bowls. Well, we got this good chicken and, you know, cheese and mashed potatoes and corn and gravy. That's good. Yeah, could you, like, mix that all up into a bowl and just, like, shove it into my mouth while I'm on suicide watch? I mean, I could, sir, but you could also eat on a plate like a civilized human being. Nah, I'm good, thanks. I mean, I guess everything's just KFC famous bowls at this point. I don't know, I guess it's like those old science fiction movies where you would get, like, you know, freeze-dried, like, sandwiches or something. You would just poof it onto the plate. Yeah, that was too dignified. Let's just cram everything into a can and just, like, slurp it down like absolute animals. If you're gonna be a hedonist, at least do it right. Don't just drink, like, slop out of a mason jar. Alfredi says, I can't see Robert E. Lee eating that either. Yeah, I mean, that is true. You know, I mentioned the whole thing about being an honorary Yankee patrician, but yeah, I don't think like the Dixie plantation owners would have eaten that crap either. So I don't know. Like, I think we've sort of lost the plot here in our society. You know, we're not the Puritans, we're not the Scotch Irish, we're not the Tidewater plantation owners, and we're not the Quakers. You know, we're none of Albion's seed. We're just a culture dedicated to just mindless slop and efficiency. You know, they get shit on a lot, but I think we need to go back to a little bit of that, Albion seed thing to regain some basic dignity. Ponythroat says, and once you drink it, you're horrified too, and also like to find a rainbow dash figurine in the bottom of the jar. I would ask what you're referring to, Ponythroat, but I'm a little afraid to ask. Mainly the thought of, a My Little Pony in a mason jar. My mind is going to some very dark places, and I don't want to know if that's true or not. I'm sure you'll tell me pretty soon. Speaking of condiments and food slop, from Buffalo Wild Wings' Twitter, be the first to try the mustard! I'm sorry, what is this? Mustard? Is there something I missed here? Okay. Let's go to Know Your Meme. Okay, so Kendrick Lamar screaming mustard. He said the word mustard on the song TV Off, the 7th track on his 2024 album GNX. He was referencing producer DJ Mustard during the line. Oh, okay, so basically, this album came out November 22nd, 2024, and this tweet came out June 25th, 2025. Yeah, you're only about 8 months off, Buffalo Wild Wings. You're really striking while the iron's hot there. I know, I like to think I'm down with the kids, but I guess I'm not. Because I didn't even know this was a thing. Is there anything more embarrassing than a major corporation trying to, like, glom onto maymays? The answer is no. Ponythroat says, emphasis on the last 4 letters of mustard. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know, when I first saw that, I was like, is somebody orgasming while eating mustard? First of all, why would anybody call themselves DJ Mustard? What, are you a big fan of Clue or something? I mean, Colonel Mustard was always my favorite guy, personally. Nothing like an incompetent military man for, the funnies. It's a Chipotle honey mustard, so that's good. Okay. Also in celebrity news, and this is the last truly celebrity-related thing I'm going to talk about. Then the last 3 things I'm going to talk about are just kind of random Twitter silliness. I mean, I guess by default, the mustard thing was also celebrity-related, kind of. Okay, so on Broadway, and I'm sure that all my listeners are big Broadway fans, Evita, the story of Eva Perón, is back on Broadway, starring Rachel Ziegler, who is bouncing back pretty quickly, I guess, from the massive failure of Disney's Snow White remake. But, yes, they had a big curtain call. She got a standing ovation, and she was, emotionally overwhelmed. Well, that's good for her. I mean, no one ever said she wasn't a talented singer and performer. However, there is something strange going on here. Standing next to her is some twunk in boxer briefs and he's like oiled up. I will admit, I'm not super knowledgeable about Argentinian politics and history. If somebody is, could you tell me what part of the life of Juan and Eva Perón involves shirtless, muscular men covered in Vaseline? I mean, I was thinking he was just sweaty, but no, there's like a slick to this stuff. This is like some kind of filthy bio slime. I mean, was this a major tenet of Peronismo, like getting the twinks oiled up in underwear? You know, if it was, somebody please inform me, because I was not aware of this. I only very briefly touch on postbellum Latin America in my class, but if this was a thing, I guess I'll have to go more into detail on that. Okay. Some people believe this is referring to Los Descamisados, the shirtless ones, which is a sort of labor movement for the very poor in Perón's Argentina. If that is the case, I mean, he could be more dressed than this. I mean, they're called the shirtless ones, not the pantsless ones, not the covered in Vaseline ones. But again, maybe this is something that happened in Argentina in the 40s. Some other people, more Broadway aficionados than myself, clarified that this is a trademark of choreographer Jamie Lloyd's work, where people end up shirtless and covered in slime, even when they don't need to be. He also choreographed the revival of Sunset Boulevard, where the MC apparently just stops everything and just gets naked for no reason right before he gets killed by Norma, just so he can be shirtless and covered in slime. I mean, I guess Jamie Lloyd just likes handsome men covered in slime. You mean a gay man choreographed a Broadway show? I'm shocked, I tell you. Hey, but I respect that man. He swam very hard and very long, got covered in slime to tell the Peróns it's okay to have Nazis come to Argentina after the war. Whoops. Ponythroat asks, was he called Colonel Mustard due to his choice of World War I era weapons? I mean, probably. Ponythroat says, bio slime is what the Rainbow Dash mason jar is filled with. Yeah, that's what I expected. I was hoping it wouldn't be the case, but, here we are. Okay, moving on from that. Remember how a while back there was like one of the guys who shot Osama bin Laden had a really off-putting tweet about making little twink boys as concubines? Apparently this is a whole genre of tweet now, sorry. And I quote, another kind of creepy androphile man. To all the feminists, be honest now. Imagine the total apocalypse. Food and water supply is low. Your vegan skinny boyfriend is violently getting raped by me and knocked the fuck out afterwards. My nut is still dripping between his butt cheeks in front of your eyes. Would you rather stay with the rapist or with the victim? Sir. Why are you imagining this? Why are you imagining, like, some kind of post-apocalyptic scenario where you can, like, bust a nut inside little twink boys? Yeah, man, I'm a badass, and I really hope that there's an apocalypse so I can, clap man ass. Show I'm a real man. Why don't you just admit that you're gay, sir? There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I feel like most men do at least occasionally dream of, like, being in a post-apocalyptic, like, warlord scenario, but I can't say I've ever dreamed of having little catamite boys. That's just me. I've never dreamed of such a thing. It seems to me that these men are extremely gay, but they want to have a socially acceptable, like, Roman kind of idea of how they can engage in that urge. Swan Marcus says, something that people don't discuss often between the American far right and the far left is that the far right-wingers are gays pretending to be straight, and the left-wingers are straights pretending to be gay. Many oddities of our political culture can be explained following this. Yeah, he's not wrong. I mean, I've profiled the Hellenist many times, and he's a barely closeted homosexual, LARPing as some, trad Roman man. I don't know, I think all these guys should get together. Alfreda says, gay fetishes in my theater is more likely than you think. Well, yes, clearly. Alfreda says, I'm pretty sure most sane women would just leave. Ponythroat says, he says knocked out, but he meant to say knocked up. Well, I mean, we're not doing MPreg, so that's a bridge too far. I don't think that's going to happen suddenly in the apocalypse. Yeah, I can't say I've ever imagined that. I mean, when in the event that society totally collapses, I mean, there's a few people I wouldn't mind killing. But that's where my fantasies end. Like, I'm not sticking my wiener in any man ass. And frankly, I think guys who do talk like this should be the first ones taken out in the breakdown of social, law and order. Okay. In weird internet news, from incels.is, rage fuel. I just got obliterated by a Chad toddler at the supermarket. And I quote, I was minding my own business doing groceries when this Becky comes in with her baby in tow. The baby screams and screams and keeps screaming. In passing, I take a glance at the little shitlet, and of course, he's a baby Chad. Blonde, blue-eyed, straight hairline, hunter eyes, pronounced jaw. No sign of the puffy cheeks and buggy eyes seen babies. He's an Aryan Giga Chad in the making. 3 angry Pepes. In that moment, the rage I felt was insurmountable. How dare this genetically privileged little shitter inconvenience us subhumans like that? When he grows up, he'll be king of the world. Can he not feel at least a little bit bad for his inferiors and shut up? No, of course he can't. He's a baby. He doesn't understand what a mogger he is. The world is unfair. This little Chad was born a winner, while I was born a loser. Hanging Pepe. Boy, you gotta... That's, oh boy, that's really sad. Like, you're literally getting mogged and BTFO'd by an infant. That is not great. I mean, I've read, like, incel posts where they get mogged by, like, teenage boys. That's bad enough, but you're literally getting mogged by a baby. Like a Chad baby. And then somebody posts a picture of, like, a baby Chad with, like, a little binky and a frog hat. Which is literally just the Giga Chad picture, shrunken down into a baby. Let me just put that up, because it's amusing me greatly. Okay. Alfreda says, maybe the kid will grow up to be a brain cell. You don't know his life. What is a brain cell? Is that like somebody who's too stupid to get laid? Pointhroat says, as a foal, I had blonde hair. I grew out of it, now my mane is just kind of brown. Well, I mean, I have black hair, and I've always had black hair. Though occasionally I'll find blonde or even red hairs on me. Like, just a couple of individual hairs here and there. I mean, I don't really think I would do particularly good as a redhead. I feel like I would just, I would look like Akuma from Street Fighter. Alfreda says he's too autistic to get laid. I see. I mean, I do have sympathy for incels. Thankfully, when I was at my worst as a teenager, like, the whole incel, like, identity is like a fruity little community that didn't really exist. So, I feel like I could have easily gone this way if I'd been born 10 years later. So, thankfully I didn't. But, yeah, that's pretty sad, being cockblocked by a literal infant. And on a similar note, that, Ponythroat clarifies, a brain cell is a person who thinks they can't get laid because they're too smart. Oh, I mean, there's definitely people who think they're too smart to get laid. They're not, but they think they are. On a similar note, something that's going to set off a lot of incel rage. From an Amritha Suresh, a lady posting on a Facebook group, Indians in Sweden. And I quote, relationships with European men can be very exciting because they're so good-looking, tall, and charming, but also unstable and certain. It's a challenge to maintain them for long term. European men are adverse to financially supporting you because everything's 50-50 here. It's always a challenge to keep him interested. They have options. I suggest Indian girls who come here date European men for the thrill and experience in their 20s. It opens up a new dimension. It increases your confidence because you feel desirable and proud in your ability to attract these men. But in the end, it's better to marry a stable, loyal, supportive Indian man after having your fun. Indian men don't have options in the dating world. Their only option is usually marriage, so they are loyal and supportive. They will be the primary breadwinner. They will pursue you and do everything you say. Sure, they're not as desirable as European men. You won't feel the same physical chemistry with them, but you've gotten it out of your system, and you have beautiful memories. Just some advice from a sister. Boy, that's, oof, that hurts. Like, I'm not Indian, but that is painful. I mean, it's painful for everybody involved, really. I mean, I'm surprised there hasn't been like an epidemic of just Indian incel like spree shootings. Yeah, that's yeah, my regards, men of the subcontinent. That's not good. I mean, just so brazenly too. I don't advocate hitting women, but yeah, that woman needs a swift punch in the mouth. Alpha says she's literally advocating for the alpha fucks beta bucks meme. Yes, she is. That's literally what she's doing. Ponythroat says sounds like a great way to become a single mother at the age of 30. Yeah, that's something. Alpha Marigi says, if I was a curry cell, I'd be more mad at my elders for the female infanticide. Yeah, that's, it's not a good situation in a lot of places, but India especially. We say that, like, sex relationships are bad in this country, but, we're not India, we're not South Korea. It could be a lot worse. Hey, and finally, speaking on vaguely, race-related news, Carnival cruises, as of 2025, June 2025, have some new rules for some unexplained reason. Here are 6 updated rules. 1. Stricter drug enforcement. No drugs, not even cannabis, are on board. Violators face removal and permanent bans. 2. A youth curfew. Guests 17 and older must leave public spaces by 1 a.m. unless they're accompanied by an adult or part of a supervised teenage program. 3. Fan restrictions. Handheld, non-battery fans are now prohibited. So like the, Super Smash Brothers like paper fan is apparently prohibited. Partly due to safety concerns surrounding a viral Where Them Fans At line dance. I've never heard of such a thing. 4. Bluetooth speaker ban. Guests cannot play any music in public areas. They say the rule is for comfort, but many see racial bias in enforcement. 5. Strict enforcement of a 15-drink limit on all Carnival cruisers. And 6. Reduced music genre options. Not officially banned, rap and hip-hop appear to be quietly removed from many ship playlists. DJs also reportedly declined guest requests now. Another quote. Other comments included, Carnival got tired of being the Section 8 of the sea. What's racist about asking people to act right? And I'm sure it's just a complete coincidence that this occurred. I'm sure there's no reason at all why it's happening. Okay. Alpha Media says anti-ninja discrimination strikes again. Yes, Revenge of the Ninja. It's a thing. 1 second. Okay, Ponythroat says, I see the fans as an anti-stereotypical Asian woman pogrom. I mean, I'm going to assume it's some kind of, like, Super Smash Brothers related, ban where you're not allowed to just smack people with a paper fan anymore. But yeah, I don't know, I'd never heard of this dance. I guess I'm not as down with the kids as I like. But yeah, good for Carnival for enforcing some kind of decorum. Somebody else asked about where them fans at. Let's look this up. Okay, okay, some kind of dance by DJ 803 Fresh, whoever that is. Okay, okay, it's I guess I'll watch a video of this where them fans at. Okay, it's you're using the fans, like you're snapping them open as a form of percussion. Whenever I see people using folding fans, I imagine them doing Mortal Kombat shit with them, and it's never the case, unfortunately. Ponythroat says, this has now got to be the second worst Atlantic cruise experience for people of color. Oh, you're cutting it pretty close there, sir. Anyway. I think that's about going to do it for my prepared remarks. I apologize for the technical difficulties. It will not happen again next week. Alright, so as you can say, our last pieces now, should you want. Alpha Marie asks, would you rather have a power scaling son or a shipper daughter? I mean, I guess it would depend on... I mean, probably I'd have like a power scaler son, because I feel like boys naturally are on like the pecking order. They compare who's more powerful. I mean, I'd be okay with my daughter shipping stuff. Depends on what she's shipping, I guess. If it's something stupid, I'm going to be against that. But I feel like that's just sort of the natural tendency of a male and a female. Men debate, who's gonna kick whose ass, and women debate who's gonna, be doing the business. Ask K-pop fan son or a North Korean fan son. Boy, that's a tough choice. Okay, yeah, so that's going to do it for my prepared remarks for Larsen Halleck. Wait, what? Alpha Ricky says, someone said if you swap the genders of a power scaler versus a shipper, you get a bisexual son or a femcel. Yeah, it's probably true. Anyway, for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.